Hello everyone, welcome back to my channel. If you're new here, hi, my name is Gina and let's talk about plants. So today's video is going to be the Q&A video. So a few weeks ago I asked you guys to ask me any questions you want to know, like planty or personal, and a lot of you did ask me some questions, so I have a pretty big 3 pages worth of questions here to go through, and I want to answer every single one of them, so we have a lot to do. So originally I was going to make this a propagation and Q&A video, but I was in my grow tent yesterday and I was looking at my Syngoniums. See this? I have been wanting to repot these into bigger pots. So these are like 2.5 or 3 inch size pots. And I want to transfer them into 4 inch pots. So during the Q&A session, we're going to be repotting these. So it's going to be a repot and chat Q&A video. So I have a bunch of these Syngoniums. These are all Syngonium Aureas. Very beautiful plants. These are all that I brought up with me here are the Syngonium Aureas, but there are more. See this one also. They all have just crazy roots coming out of the bottom of the pots. So besides the Aureas, I do have other ones in my grow tent that need to be repotted also, but depending on how fast I can go, we may get to those or we may not. But for now, I have all these Aureas to work with. So I've got my potting soil right here. And yeah, so let's get started. Now, accidentally breaking one of these roots is not the end of the world. In fact, sometimes I purposely will just do that. It doesn't hurt the plant at all, so you don't have to worry about that. Those, I do it quite often actually, and they always just grow right back. So if you break roots while you're trying to repot your plants, don't freak out. It's not going to hurt your plant. So these are really in there. Okay, so let's get started on the first Q&A. So the first one, if I butcher your name, I am so sorry. If I say it incorrectly, my apologies. This one luckily was an easy one. Sarah9314 said, I'm always interested in spouses' thoughts on so many plants and things everywhere. I'm sure I'm not the only one, but my husband gets overwhelmed, so I try to keep my collection around 50. So I think my collection is it's over 300. I haven't counted recently, so I don't really know exactly what it is. But as far as what my husband thinks about it or says about it, he really doesn't say a whole lot. So yesterday, there was a couple questions about what my husband thinks about plants or what my family thinks about plants. So I asked them. I asked my husband and I asked my son, so what do you guys think about my plants? And my son's response was, I don't really think about your plants. And my husband laughed and said, yeah, I don't really think about your plants either. So my plants don't bother them, thankfully. I think maybe part of the reason why they don't really think about them is because the way I have them placed in my house, they're almost just like decor. It's like they're just part of the decor. So it's not a big deal to them. He doesn't really think about it. It doesn't bother him. Luckily, he's like a really laid back person, so it's not a big deal. All right, so finally got it out of there. It was in there really good. So let me get I'm gonna reuse some of this soil here because it's still good soil. These Syngoniums are such fast growers that, I mean, they've only been in these cups for a few months. So that soil is not like exhausted. It still has plenty of nutrients left in it. So let me get some fresh soil, and I am using a real chunky aeroid mix. That's what I use for my Syngoniums and a lot of my plants. So hopefully that answers your question, Sarah. So we'll go to the next one. So next we have Go Gomez 1, and they said, "Hi Gina, love your tent. My question is, what medium do you use for your plants? Might be different depending on the plant. And second question is, what's your favorite genus? Also, would love to see a video on how you build a terrarium." So first question, what medium do you use for your plants? So, hey, we were just talking about chunky aeroid mix. That is really mostly what I use, is a chunky soil aeroid mix that has my favorite soil, which is the Fox Farm soil, and then I amend it with orchid bark, charcoal, pumice, and worm castings. So that is mostly what I use. That's my favorite type of soil to use. But like, for instance, like you said, it might be different depending on the plant. So my African violets, I use an African violet soil from the store, but then I add extra pumice to it, or not pumice, perlite. I add extra perlite to that. My cactus and succulents, I use a cactus succulent soil mix, and I'll add extra pumice to that. So, and like pings, that's a different soil. So yeah, so I use different mediums for my plants depending on the plant. My favorite though would be the chunky soil mix. And then also I use pon. I have a whole video on that. But yeah, those are the mediums I use. And your second question, what is your favorite genus? Whew, that's a tough one. I think I'd have to say Hoya. I think I have mostly Hoya in my collection. But yeah, I mean, gosh, that's a tough question. But I guess I will go with Hoya. Hoya is my favorite genus. And mainly because, why? Let me think. I think it's because there are so many, there's so many different types. There's so many, and they flower, which is fun. And I don't know. I mean, it's a really close tie with Syngoniums. I do love Syngoniums too, but then I also love succulents, and but yeah, we'll just go with Hoya. Hoya is my favorite. Okay, and then also they said also would love to see a video on how you build a terrarium. So I actually have, I think I have like 2 videos on how I build a terrarium. So I have my big terrarium in my office, and then I do a bunch of jar terrariums, and I'm pretty sure I've shown like 2 or 3 videos. One for sure, my big terrarium, I go into detail on how to create that. And yeah, so check that out, I'm gonna pinch off this yellow leaf here, just because it's kind of ugly, getting rid of that. So we are done with our first repot. So this Aurea actually does not have much in the way of yellow coloring, unlike the others. All right, so next question. ObK2819 says, "Hi Gina, My question is, do you have any formal design training education because you're so good at it? And how did you learn how to take care of plants? Trial, error, YouTube classes. And then I'm looking forward to a chatty repot video. They are my favorite type of planty videos. Mine too. I enjoy those. So when you say, do you have any formal design training education because you're so good at it, I'm assuming you mean like decorating, interior decorating, I think. That's what I'm assuming you mean by that. And the answer is no, I don't. And thank you for thinking I'm good at it. I guess this just comes naturally. I don't know that I'm good at it, but I have kind of a very eclectic style, I would say. I mean, I wouldn't even know how to describe my style of decorating because I tend to like mix and match different things. I just throw together what I like. So, yeah, I hope that answers that question. And then you said, how did you learn how to take care of plants? Trial, error, YouTube, classes. So probably mostly trial and error. And then when the error occurs, then I would like get online and look up what I did wrong. Yeah, you know, I didn't actually start watching YouTube until like 2019, I think. So I missed a lot of years of YouTube uploads. I don't even know when like YouTube actually began, like its start. But I know, you know, it's been many years. But yeah, now I'm like addicted to YouTube. I'm always watching YouTube. And it's very helpful. YouTube can be very helpful in learning what to do when something goes wrong with your plants. But I would say mostly my experience is just trial and error and then looking it up on the internet. So like in the olden days, before really internet, books, there's books, library books. I went to the library a whole lot more than I do these days. And I think that was it. I think that was that one. Okay, moving on. We have Karen Mcir 3982 said that I've noticed that you moved some of your Hoya into pond. Can you talk about the advantages of pond over soil? How do you fertilize with pond? Do you have to change the pond after a while like with soil? I guess I need a beginner pond video. So advantages of pond over soil. So I think the biggest advantage is it's kind of like when you have plants growing in water, like when you're propagating plants and you put them into water to propagate them, to grow the roots, you kind of forget about it. So pond is kind of like that because it's basically, you know, it's your rocky medium, but it sits in water. So, I mean, I can go longer in between watering plants as opposed to something in soil. So I guess that would be what I would say is the biggest advantage. Some people might say like you have less fungus gnats using pond. I don't really know if that's the case because I still have so many plants in soil, so it's hard for me to judge if having them in pond makes a difference. Yeah, I am gonna pinch this root off. So crisp sounding. Yeah, what else? What other advantages? I guess they stay more hydrated. So plants that are more finicky, like that don't like to dry out, keeping them in pond because they're also like in water, that would be an advantage. Does that make sense? Did I explain that right? How do you fertilize with pond? So in the pond mix, and I do have a video, I did make a video about pond. I don't know if it would qualify as like a beginner pond video, but I do show like what I put into a DIY pond. And one of the ingredients in there is fertilizer. It's just Osmocote, which probably most of us are familiar with. Osmocote is like a granular fertilizer, and that is in there. So that will last for about 6 months, that Osmocote, before it gets exhausted. And then you can start using, well, so you can redo this. So that kind of goes into your other question. Do you have to change the pond after a while, like with soil? So yes, you do, but you can, pond is reusable, so you can boil it and reuse it, clean it. Boiling will clean it out, and then you can add new Osmocote to that, and it will last you another 6 months. Or you can also do like a liquid fertilizer, and I'm sure I don't do that. I haven't looked into it yet, like the liquid fertilizer, because you do have to be careful, I think, because the liquid fertilizer could, since the plant is just sitting in that, it could end up burning the plant. So you do have to get like a specific type of fertilizer for that, which, like I said, I haven't actually done that, so I haven't researched that. That's something I would have to do. But for now, what I'm doing is just every 6 months or so, I just redo the actual pond and add new Osmocote to that. So yeah. Does that answer your question? Okay, so next we have Planty Ann says, what is your routine with caring for and watering so many plants? Do you have any tips for caring for so many plants at once? I have 60-ish houseplants, and there is at least one plant that isn't happy with me because of overwatering. So my routine, actually, I'm gonna get a glass of water because I am already needing some water from talking so much. So my routine, I break my watering days into 3 days every week, 3 days out of the week. So Wednesday, Thursday, Friday are my watering days. Because I have over 300 plants, so I have to do that or I would just go nuts. It would just be way too overwhelming if I had to water all of my plants at once in one day. So what I do is, like, on Wednesday, I water the front room, like the living room and the dining room. That's Wednesday. Thursday is this area, the kitchen and the family room, and also my bedroom. And then Friday is my office. So that makes it manageable for me. It makes it so I don't get too overwhelmed. So that's what I would do. That's what I would suggest for anybody. You know, if you have plants that aren't happy with you because of under or over watering, I don't know, try that, like breaking it up, like do 20 plants one day, 20 plants another day, 20 plants the next day. That might help. Give it a try. So next we have, let me get some soil in here. I am not good at like doing two things at one time, like talking and doing stuff. I am so bad at that. So next we have Michelle Sadlowski 7111. Okay, so Michelle says, "Hi Gina, you are very creative with decorating. Are you an artist decorator or is it something you like to do in your free time? How much time do you spend a week doing plant care? And what is your favorite planty chore? How many times have you moved and where have you lived? Is your family super supportive of your passion for plants or did that take time? Sometimes my love for plants can cause some strife with my partner, so curious how you manage to make it work so well." So the first question, are you an artist decorator or is this something you like to do in your free time? So definitely it's just something I like to do in my free time. I am not trained. But I do enjoy it. And, you know, I have some like design books I've picked up at thrift stores or online, just like from bookstores, but no training, no like official training in that. How much time do you spend a week doing plant care? And what is your favorite planty chore? So, gosh. So pretty much, like I said, my watering days are 3 days a week, and it usually takes me, each watering day usually takes about 1.5 hours at least, I think, about an hour and a half. So let's see, so 1.5 hours times 3 days a week, 1, 2, 3, 4.5 hours, plus I am in my grow tent every day, so I don't always do stuff in there. It just depends on if the plants need water. And of course, you know, like just checking in on the plants. So maybe in a whole week, maybe I spend an hour in the grow tent. So 5.5 hours. So probably like in a typical week, like if I'm not having to propagate or anything like that, probably about 6 hours a week spent on plant care, maybe? I'm not sure. Does that sound like too little in a whole week? I don't know. Maybe I will say 6 hours. That's how much time I spend per week doing plant care. So what is my favorite planty chore? My favorite planty chore. Probably propagating. I think propagating is a ton of fun. So yeah, propagating. How many times have you moved and where have you lived? So in my whole life, I think I'll just do as an adult. So I have moved. So I've lived in Indiana. I've lived in California. I've lived in Connecticut and Colorado. So as an adult, I've moved Indiana to California, 1, California to Connecticut, 2, Connecticut to Colorado, 3. So I've moved 3 times as an adult. And so we lived in Fort Wayne, Indiana after we got married. Then we lived in Burbank, California. And then we lived in Norwalk, Connecticut. And now we live in Longmont, Colorado. Is your family super supportive of your passion for plants, or did that take time? Yeah, I have to say yes. I guess I'm lucky that, yeah, they are very supportive. I think that's it. I think that covers that one. So next we have, Sarah again. Yay, I'd love to ask what plants you started with. This is Sarah 9314, by the way. Yay, I'd love to ask what plants you started with and when, year, or age. So my very first plant ever was actually, it was a mini rose bush. Like I remember going to Kroger's with my mom and seeing this beautiful like pink flowering mini rose bush. And that was the very first plant I ever purchased myself. And I was probably 16 or 17. Also, when did you consider having plants as a collection? So I would say like as a collection, like as a collector of plants, it would be 2019. I mean, I had plants before that, like when we first got married. So we got married in 1995. We got married and I had plants in our apartment, my first apartment. As I had like, they were set up in front of a sliding patio window and I had quite a few plants and I probably have a picture somewhere. If I can find a picture of them, I will stick it up here. But at that time I didn't really consider it like, I didn't have like a plant collecting addiction, I guess. I just had quite a few plants, but I wouldn't consider like having plants as a collection until like 2019. Was it like a certain number of plants or just like you started seeking them out to add more, like mindset behind it, I guess? I don't know, gosh. Was it like a certain number of plants? I didn't have like a number in mind, if that's you. Like I wanted to have 50 plants. I didn't have that. It just kind of like, it's more of, oh, I like this plant. I'm gonna get this plant. I like that plant. I'll get that plant. And it just kind of like snowballs. Let's see. Also, you speak a lot about collecting different items. What are they? I do talk about my collections, collecting stuff. So let me show you what I collect. A few of the things, because I collect a lot of stuff. So I collect anthropology mugs. So here's an example of some of my anthropology mugs. This is actually a new one from this year as part of their Halloween collection. So cute, a cat. They just have the greatest mugs. I just love them so much. So like this one here, another cat. Do you see a theme here? This one. It's from a couple years ago. And I was shocked. I saw on eBay these were selling for like $50 used. And I have this one, Cultivate Kindness. Kind of goes along with my love of plants. And this was part of their Christmas collection one year. Little bunnies on it. I know it doesn't look like Christmassy, but so, and then I have one with a hummingbird here. Cute. And I have so many, you guys. I have a ton. This one I just got recently, well, within the year. Really pretty. You can get these like on really, really good discount because they put them on discount after so much time. So yeah, so that is an example of one thing I collect. And I collect like dishes. I collect a lot of like ceramic or pottery from anthropology. Let let me grab some of that. So like this plate here, just pretty plates. So love this designer also. Stuff like that. And oh, my latest collection was, you guys have seen these Delft, blue Delft. This is my newest collecting thing. When I'm at the thrifts, I found this one. This was supposed to be shown in my upcoming Thrift With Me video, but it's like a little super cute little candle holder. And then I got this one recently. Blue Delft. So I collect that stuff, and I collect ceramic birds. Let me show you those. These sort of things. Vintage. This one is actually like for a plant, I think. Real cute. I have this one. And then this one. I have more, but I'm just gonna show you a few examples. And then I also collect like these vintage elves. This one's so cute. Love these. I have a bunch of those, but I'll just show you those few. And what else do I collect? I don't know what else I collect. Plants. I collect plants. What else do I collect? I don't know. That's probably enough for, that's enough for that. I'm sure there's more things I collect and I just can't even think about it. Like I collect mushroom stuff, mushroom themed things. Okay, where are we? So I think that's it. I think that's it for your question. So next we have Vel Valkyrie 0312 says, what's your favorite local plant shop? I really like Gully's Greenhouse in Fort Collins, but I'm always looking for other places. So my favorite, well, we're pretty lucky. So I'm in Longmont and we have the Flower Bin. I'm sure you're familiar with the Flower Bin. It's a great shop. They always have a lot of stuff. So I guess that would be my favorite. I do enjoy Gully's also. I have been there a couple times, and they also sell online on Etsy. Some other places that I don't actually go to a whole lot of plant shops in the area. I haven't been to any in Denver. I've been to the Flower Bin, Gully's. There's, I think it's just called Plant in Louisville, Colorado. And where else have I been? Where else have I been? Oh, we have a shop here in Longmont called, I think it's called Happy Day Plants. It's a real small little boutique, but they do like classes and things like that in there. Like how to make a terrarium or how to make a macrame plant hanger, stuff like that, like little workshops. So that's cute. But yeah, I need you to tell me where to go. Because I don't, I do, when I'm buying plants, I'm mostly buying online. So, and Etsy is my favorite. So next, Sher Kumar 2883 says, hi Gina, I have a personal question. I know you've spoken a bit about living in several different areas of the US. I too have lived in several areas because of my dad's profession and then because of my husband's. I'm curious what has had you living in so many places. So when we moved from Indiana to California, the reason for that was because my husband, his dream is to get into the entertainment industry as an editor or just get into the movie making aspect. So when we lived in Indiana, he worked at a TV station and he was an editor, like he would do promo commercials. And so he contacted NBC in LA and he was able to get a job there. It was kind of like crazy how it all worked out, but these are really hard to get out of here. But it just all worked out. So that's why we moved to California. And then California to Connecticut was just because, so we lived in California for 15 years and I missed seasons because I came from the Midwest, Indiana, and I really missed seasons. And our son graduated high school in 2018 and I always said that, you know, I wanted to move back. I wanted to move back to a place with seasons. I just missed the really distinct change of seasons. Because you do have 4 seasons in California, but it's just different in Southern California. So that's why we moved it. And we chose Connecticut because my husband needed a bigger market for his line of work. New York would be like the next, because he was in LA. He can move to New York City and find work easily. So that's why we chose Connecticut. And then Connecticut to Colorado was because we didn't really enjoy the East Coast living there, like full time. I don't know, we didn't enjoy it. So we moved to Colorado because my brother was out here and he's like talking it up crazy and loved it so much. So that's why we chose Colorado. I don't know, we just kind of do stuff, like no rhyme or reason really. We just take chances and they always work out. So yeah. Okay, so the next question is from the Bobers. Hello from South Florida. I keep my Hoyas outside. I started collecting a year ago and I'm sad to say I have lost a couple due to overwatering. We're in soil. How can I tell which Hoyas should be repotted from the soil they arrive in to a more chunky media? So I would say if the soil, you can kind of look at soil and see if it looks kind of inferior, like for Hoya. If you don't see a lot of chunkiness in that soil, I would switch it out after like a few weeks of when you first get it, wait a few weeks, and then I would switch it out to a soil you're more comfortable with. How can I tell which? And then I have over 400 orchids and water daily. I have a heavy hand. My Hoyas are thriving with daily misting and watering 2 times a week. I fertilize weekly often. I just started watching your channel and I'm hooked. Thank you. Thanks so much for all the valuable information you share. Thank you. I'm so glad you feel that way. Yeah, I hope I answered your question. So if I get a Hoya in the mail, you know, most of the time, a lot of time, so I ship when I sell my plants and I ship them in a really nice, chunky soil. You see that? So if I was to get a plant that looked like this, I wouldn't be in it. I wouldn't be in any rush to switch it out because I can just see that it's a nice quality soil. If the soil is like lacking that chunk, then definitely that's when I would switch it. That's when I would repot it. So I hope that answers your question. So next we have Miss Lita, I believe. Do you have kids? How old are they? What do they think about the plants? So I do. I have one child. He's not a child anymore. He's an adult. He's 23 years old. He'll be 24 next month. And what do they think about the plants? He, like I said earlier, he said he doesn't think about the plants. He doesn't really think about them. He's fine with my plants. He did say that he thinks of them as like they're a part of my identity, part of who I am. So I think what he was saying is like he likes the plants because he associates them with me. So yeah. How does your husband feel about the plants? He's totally fine with them. What do you do for a living? Outside of plants, what are your other hobbies? So what do I do for a living? This, what I'm doing right now. So I don't have a job outside of this. So I do YouTube and I resell plants. That's my job. Outside of plants, what are your other hobbies? Do I have other hobbies? I used to do macrame. I don't do that anymore. Is bird watching a hobby? I love like wild birds, like feeding the birds and watching the birds. Would that be considered a hobby? I like reading. Does that count? Like nonfiction, not nonfiction. I used to do nonfiction, a lot of nonfiction, but I'm more into fiction these days. I don't know that I would call it a hobby because I don't read enough, I don't think, to consider it being a hobby. And I feel like I'm losing my voice. So other hobbies, I can't, I think that's it. Yeah, so plants, bird watching. Oh, thrifting. Can thrifting be a hobby? I think so. I love to thrift. So thrifting, bird watching, reading. I enjoy reading. I just never I need to take more time to do that. I don't do it enough. So yeah, I think that's it. Next, I read plants. Would you like to make a video about your collection of all your philodendron and monstera? So definitely, I can do the philodendron. I really don't have that many monsteras anymore. I have my Thai. Oh, I do have my Adansonii. So yeah, I can do that. Maybe I can combine the two together. Next, Nicola Gunteri. I'm sure I butchered that. Hi Gina, we got to see a little glimpse of your husband in some of your videos. I'm just wondering how you met, and you guys make a great team. Thank you. So how we met at college. So both of us attended Purdue University, West Lafayette, and we were both communication majors, and we had a lot of classes together. So we had like maybe two classes, 3 classes together. And so we basically, I think we sat next to each other one day in class. We just kind of like started sitting next to each other like all the time in classes. And I don't know, we started out like we would study together for the classes, and it just one thing led to the other, and you know, here we are. Here we are. And I guess that's it for that one. All right, so next, from Cheryl Signor 9646. Hi Gina, I never think to check the community tab, so maybe I'm too late. If not, do you watch plant YouTube? If so, who are your favorite creators? So I do watch plant YouTube. I don't actually watch as much as I used to, and I think it's because I do it. I do this. I'm like this is my job, so I'm distracted by thrift with me videos. Like there's a ton of thrift with me videos on YouTube, like other thrifters. It's amazing. So I'm always watching those. So I don't watch as much plant YouTube anymore. But yeah, mostly what I'm watching these days is like thrift with me videos, and also I've been really into like New York City vlogs, which is weird because I mean I just really enjoy watching those, and I have no desire to live in New York City, but they're fun to watch. So I watch a lot of that. So I watch a lot of thrift with me videos and New York City vlogger videos. One creator that I really enjoy, that I always watch their videos when they put them out, is Good and Planty. And I'm excited that she just recently moved to New York City because I love the New York City vlogs. So I get plants and New York City vlog in one, so that's exciting. I just hope she like really downsized her plant collection, and I really hope she like starts building it up again. I mean, not huge, but just gets a few more plants. So yeah. So I watch Good and Planty. That's one of the creators I watch, PlantTube creators. So yeah, she's one of my favorite YouTube creators, or YouTube, PlantTube creators. And then also I'll watch my friend Chris. I watch her videos, every video that she puts out. That's Plants and Mosaics in Chris's Garden, I believe it's called. I watch her. So yeah. And next we have Shades of Idaho, which is Chris from Plants and Mosaics and Chris's Garden. Probably saying that wrong. She says, I am curious if you have to leave your shop plants out of the grow tent for a period of time before you list them for sale or ship them so it is not a shock to them coming to new homes. I hope this question makes sense. Thanks. It does make sense. So, you know, I used to think that I needed to do that, and I would do that like before I had a grow tent. I would do that. I would like take them out of their like humidity dome things, and I would set them on just in normal room conditions. But I discovered that you don't really need to do that because I don't know, I don't do it anymore, and it's fine. It doesn't seem to be an issue at all. So yeah. So I don't. I used to in the past, but I don't anymore. Okay. Next page. So this person, this is Emmy Lucille 240, asks, what Hoyas are on your wish list? So, gosh, I don't really have any on my wish list. I got so many new Hoyas this year, and those, I mean, I got a lot of my wish list Hoyas, so I think the only one I can think of that I still want to add to my collection would be the Hoya multiflora. which is a pretty easy one to get, and it's not expensive. So yeah, that's the only one I can think of right now that is on my wish list. And then also, Emmy Lucille said, I'm sure you've said it somewhere, but where did you meet your husband? Purdue University, West Lafayette. That was college. So next we have Yvonne Vigil 7489 says, hi Gina, interested in a variegated plant that is not a climber. Just want it nice and full. Any suggestions? Yes, I do have a great suggestion. It's nice and full. It's not a climber. This is the variegated Discidia russifolia. And it is a trailer. It is not a climber. And it gets really full and it's just beautiful. So yes, this right here, definitely get one of those. Easy care, so easy care. And yeah, that's my biggest recommendation right there. Next we have Nina Succulentas Imas says, what was your first plant and when you noticed you loved plants? So my first plant was that mini rose bush, that mini pink rose bush. And when I first noticed I love plants, gosh, when I was a little kid, I would say like 3 or 4, 5, my dad had African violets and I loved those. I thought they were just the most beautiful things. So yeah. Next, okay, Finster 6582 says, I am interested in your home. How long have you lived there and what does it look like? It seems so big. And how about your neighborhood? So we've lived here since 2021. I think we moved in November 2021. And I started this YouTube channel February 2022. Yeah, I'm pretty sure. So it's a ranch style home, single story, and we do have a basement, and it's 3 bedroom, 2 bath. We have a 3-car garage, and it's kitchen, open kitchen, and family room, and then we have a front living room and dining room, and then bedroom, and 2 more bedrooms. We have a laundry room, and then there's the bath on this end, this area of the house for the 2 bedrooms that are separate from the primary bedroom. Has a attached bath. So, and then the basement. And yes, I mean, it's not really that big. It's well, it sounds big when I say it's like 2,000 some square feet, but it's like perfect size for us. It's like perfect. And I love having a single story. And yeah. The neighborhood, I looked it up. So it was established and built between 1997 and 2001. So it's about, what, a 20-year-old neighborhood, 20-some years old neighborhood, most of the houses. And ours was built in 1999, I know that. And we have an HOA. So, but it's a pretty inexpensive HOA. It's like $140 a year, which is pretty good. Yeah. Does that answer? I think so. So next, SD Quilter, which is Lynn, says, you have apparently moved around. Is this your forever home? I hope so. I really do. I don't like having to move around a lot. So I'm going to say yes, this is our forever home. We love it here, so, but we'll see. What state are you originally from? Indiana, Northwest Indiana. I know this question sounds rude, but it really isn't. I ask myself this question all the time. Do you believe that there will be a time where you will ever be satisfied with the number of plants you have? Yes. Currently, I think I am satisfied where I'm at right now. I mean, I did just order a new plant, but I'm very satisfied at the number I am at right now. So I think that is impossible, but I'm running out of space. You have been good at macrame in the past. Do you have any other hobbies that you are good at? I'm really good at thrifting. If we can agree that that is a hobby, I don't know. But no, I don't think, I mean, I have no other like crafty hobbies, not like macrame. So yeah, I think that answers that. Next we have Araceli Arroyo 76. Hello, Gina. When do you start collecting plants? How long have you been married to your husband? So collecting. Okay, so how long I've been collecting plants? I would, like I said in a previous question answer, I would consider I started collecting in 2019. Even though I had plants back in 1995, I wouldn't consider myself a collector back then, but I am definitely a collector now. So 4 years, about 4 years, I've been collecting plants. And how long have you been married to your husband? Since 1995. So it'll be, I think, 28 years next month. Is that right? 95, 2005, 2015, 16, 17, 18, 19, 20, 21, 22. Yeah, it'll be 28 years next month, which is insane because it really does not feel like it's been 28 years. It's just crazy how fast time goes. Like, seriously, you guys know, time goes so fast, so fast. Okay. Grace Axisa, 4213. If you're taking personal questions, I'd love to know if you're doing YouTube full-time now, and if so, what you did previously. Thank you. So I guess, I mean, currently, this is, like I said before, this is my job, the YouTube and selling plants, but there's no way I could like live off of that at this moment. I don't know if I could ever live off of that, but I guess technically it is when I'm doing it full time. Previously, I haven't worked, like, I haven't had like a job outside of the house since 1999, the year my son was born. I mean, I did work at Anthropology for a few months when we lived in Connecticut. But yeah, and then I used to be like a full-time eBay seller, like, because I thrift all the time, so I used to sell on eBay. Yeah, so we got by on that. And then my husband's an editor, so he has full-time employment. So yeah, but there's no way at this, like with my shop and with my YouTube earnings, there's no way I could like survive comfortably off of that. So, but I guess technically, yes, I am doing YouTube full-time now. And one final question, and I still have 4 more of these guys to do. These guys. I always wonder what your job is or your background because you have such an interesting personality. Well, thank you. So my previous jobs were, well, I used to be a proofreader. Actually, I'll tell you all the jobs I've had in my life. So my first job was an ice cream shop. I sold ice cream. And then my second job was at a pet store, which I loved. And then I got a job kind of in my line, my degree, my communications degree. I got a job with an advertising company, but it was like as a proofreader. So I would proofread ads, make sure everything was good on the ad. And then I had my son, and then I quit that. So, and then I was doing eBay, like reselling on eBay full time. And now I'm doing this. So yeah. So one thing also, when we lived in California, I did do some like extra acting work. So I signed up with this agency that it's the big agency for hiring extras for behind the scenes, like behind the camera, not behind the camera, but like in the background of TV shows or movies. And so I guess that technically could be considered a job I've had in the past. So I was on 3 shows. I was on Mike and Molly as an extra, background extra. I was on Community, and I was on a show called The Last Ship, which was like a apocalyptic show. And that one was interesting because in that one, I actually had to get like makeup done to look like I was post-apocalyptic, like all beat up. And if I have a picture, I will put it here of what I ended up looking like after they did my makeup. That was kind of exciting because I felt like a real actor getting hair and makeup and wardrobe and whatnot. But yeah, so I guess technically that would count as jobs, past jobs I've had. So I think that's it, you guys. That is all the questions and answers I have. So we got a few done. I got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. 6 of these repotted. And I am losing my voice because I've just been talking so much. I am out of water, and I think that's going to be it for this video. So hopefully that was interesting. I know I'm not the most interesting person out there, but hopefully you found that entertaining. And yeah, so thank you guys so much for watching. If you enjoyed this video, don't forget to hit the like button, and if you haven't subscribed yet, hit the subscribe button. I do make videos every week, twice a week, and I'd love to have you here as part of this community. And thank you guys so much for watching, and I can't wait to see you in the next video. Bye.